Hello, friends. My name is Missy Shipman with Missy's Glad Heart Studio. And once again, I'm so happy to partner with Julia at the Baldwinsville Public Library to bring to you our monthly card making class. I'm a demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Here in the Baldwinsville area. I've been a demonstrator for 25 years, celebrating my 25th stamp anniversary this year. And it's a great joy to bring paper crafting, the love of my paper crafting hobby, to share that with all of you. Each month we have a kit that you can pick up at the library with the consumable pieces to make usually 3 or 4 projects. Tonight we're making 3 seasonal cards as we enter the busy holiday season with Halloween, Thanksgiving, and holiday Christmas card. So we'll begin with our Halloween card, and this one is the one in the kit that has a gray envelope, and there'll be some striping on the white envelope with the gray stripes and a gray card base. So let me set aside the other pieces. Lots of fun tips and tricks tonight I'm excited to share with you. And we'll begin with our Halloween card. First, I want to show you how I store all of my little stamp sets that I get from my Paper Pumpkin and Kits collection card kits. And so I had a bunch of Halloween ones I could go back through and pull from. I'm always working on better ways to organize them because there are many, many stamps in this binder, and I have another one as well. But this is one of the fun things that comes when you participate in our in-person class on tomorrow morning on a Friday. You receive a kit that includes a stamp set, the ink, the clear block, all the things you need to make the cards. So tonight I'm using some stamps from a Halloween kit, and it has a happy Halloween to you. And then this fun little pumpkin, which we're going to share how to put it together with some different steps. So let me get that out of the way, and we can get started with our stamping. We'll do our stamping first before we do the assembly of this card, because there's some fun math that I'm going to teach you how to create the fold, but we'll stamp first tonight. So in your pocket here, you have several little pieces, and one of them is this little tag shape that's a label for us to stamp on. Now, if you have a Halloween stamp or a fall stamp, you could do that. You could also draw a little picture or write a message here for this little Happy Pumpkin Halloween card. We have a lot of Halloween trick-or-treaters in our neighborhood, and it's a lot of fun each year to look forward to them coming. I'm going to ink full strength with my ink pad and then stamp off. This is called second generation stamping because we've taken the first generation of ink here, the full strength, and taken that away. And now I have a much lighter image here. And the reason I want that to be light is so that I can accent the pumpkin with these happy little kind of lines to give it some extra shape, and a face for our pumpkin to be a smile. So I'll open up my black ink. The Tuxedo Memento ink is a very popular and my favorite black ink. And we can add that fun smiley face, jack-o'-lantern face, and a little bit of a stem. Now the stem is a very small little stamp. Let me see. I hit it right on here. Hit it on top of the corner of this block. So it's a tiny little one. Going to ink that up and add that to the top of the pumpkin. Now I'm going to
I
add
think
a
you may have
little
done it
reading.
upside down.
What's that?
I think you may have done the stem upside down, but that's okay. It's
Oh, yeah, you're right. On this one, I had it the other. He looks more like a little hat on this one, doesn't it? My original one is a little bit neater. I'll show you that one. But I'm going to just finish off by adding this Happy Halloween
that's
over
pretty
there. So it's going
cool.
to overlap the pumpkin a little bit. And because I did that second generation stamping, it's like having a lighter tone of that orange of the pumpkin pie so that you can do some fun shading. Okay, so once you've added a greeting, either you handwrite or you stamped, or you could print out something from your computer and cut it to be the size of the label. Lots of options. From there, we're going to start the construction of our project. And as I said, this one has some fun math, a little bit of paper engineering tonight. So in your packet, you have a 6x6 piece of designer series paper that I've already pre-scored for you. And it starts at 6 inches by 6 inches. And then we score along each of the sides at 1.5 inches. And then we're going to cut away the corners. So since I already did the scoring step for you, we can go ahead and do the folding together. All right. And we'll fold in. You can use your bone folder. I have a bone folder handy tonight, so I'll demonstrate using that. Also, my thumb works well, or the edge of a spoon. And once we have those pieces scored here, we're just going to cut away the 4 corners.
That's one of the reasons I actually like having nails that are a bit longer.
Yep, to help you do the creasing of the
Yeah.
score lines. That's right. So I'm going to cut away the 4 corners. You can save these in your scrap bin or some other kind of project. The squares are fun to make little pinwheel cards or quilt cards. So they're a great shape to save. I do tend to save scraps even when they're tiny, because sometimes you're making miniature pieces too, and you only need a little taste of paper. Once we have the 4 of those cut away, there we are. Now it looks like this. And you'll see on this other sample here how I showed how we're going to fold down corners.
I
Okay,
was
so
thinking you're cutting out both sides of the corners. Oh, okay, so you end up with a large plus sign.
a big plus sign, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So we're taking this, and I'll give you the full sneak here of where we're heading. This is like a pinwheel card that's interactive. So these engage you, right? They're sort of like pull me. So we're going to open that up, and that's what's going to expose the shape, the design inside. And this is some fun little paper that's printed with boo, 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 and different ghosts. So your paper might be a little bit different. The piece of your ghost paper, you'll see here, they're friendly ghosts and they're different designs, but you'll be able to add that boo shape to one of your ghosts. Okay, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I want to teach you this fun fold that will create this special pinwheel. Now, in this case, I wanted the ghost to be on the outside here. So that means when I was folding it, I had the ghosts. Let me think. I have the paper like this. Better if I look at this one. I'm going to fold the triangles, each triangle to the left of the top of each plus piece. So if I fold this down just to this score line here to make a triangle shape, okay. And this one will come out the opposite of here. So it might look different when we close our envelope. The flat part might be different, but that's okay. It's a matter of deciding if you want to fold down your triangle from the left or from the right. And on my sample here, this way, which was like this, we're going to stick with this. When you have paper that has 2 different sizes, it can be a little bit tricky, but again, it won't matter which one is on the outside because you're going to be opening it. So we'll go ahead and fold the way I have it on my template here, where it's folded from the right down toward the left. You can experiment and do it the opposite way if you like. But we're going to turn it, and so each one is going to have that triangle shape. Okay. And then just as if you're folding a cardboard box, we're going to fold and tuck in the pieces. So we fold one triangle, fold the next one over. And then this last guy, he's the one that has to get tucked in so that it looks like a pinwheel all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is, I think, opposite of my original one where my triangles are nope. See how the way the angle is, the way the paper is folded, whether it's all folded in from the left or all folded into the right. You can decide, just has to be consistent. So whichever direction you take it, either from the left or from the right. Okay, so we have our base card here, the gray piece, and this nice pumpkin pie orange piece. So we can use our adhesive and add that to the card. You'll see I have it sort of near the top with this about the same, about a 1/2 inch all the way around. the card at the top and at the two sides so that I'm going to have room at the bottom here for my little label. Next, I'll take my square that we made, the pinwheel square, and I can glue that.
Okay. I was going to ask if you
Uh-huh.
can do this again once you're done with these, just
Yeah,
with that red and green paper so I can see.
I will, so that you can see how to do that folding one more
Yeah,
time. And I'll do it with it.
I got through
I
half the folding and not the other half.
Excellent. Nope. And there's no rush. I'll be able to do it again. I'll just show you the completion of the card and then we'll do it with this other paper. And like I said, if when you're experimenting with paper that has two sides, two different designs, you can experiment and see. You can always reverse your folds because, but in this case, whichever direction your card ends up going, the half will be one color and half will be the other color. See here, you can see this one is sort of spinning to the left and this one is spinning to the right. And that's because the one I made with you tonight, I folded from the right down, and I must be when I made my sample, I folded from the left down. Okay. All right. So now let's finish by putting in our little ghosts inside. They're kind of the surprise when people pull open the design. And we have, I think I started to say, we have a lot of trick-or-treaters that come to our home. Our favorite thing to gift is crayons, and even the big kids love the crayons. And we also give away candy bars, which of course is fun for everyone. Now I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop up the little word bubble. You may have dimensionals in your stash from another kit, or you can use regular adhesive, flat adhesive to secure that. For this one, I'm going to make it so this little friendly ghost is saying boo. On my original sample, it was this one. It will just depend on how your paper is printed and where the head of your ghost is to say hello. You could also write another message in here. But what's fun about this card is it has an inside as well. So you've got a lot of room to do your writing or further stamping inside.
Okay. We did
Okay.
get a little bit the dimensionals one
Were
sheet.
they in this kit too in the bag? I'm so glad. Very
Yeah.
good. So that's good for you to be able to, because each of our projects tonight, I love when you can add that bit of dimensional. So I'm glad I remembered to put those in for you.
Yeah, and people may need to cut them if it's for the small pieces because these are the large.
Great. The larger ones. So
Yeah.
sometimes, and also that helps them stretch further too. And remember, you have the outside of your dimensionals to work with. When you use up whatever little piece you have, there's usually a strip on one or the other side. So
Okay.
I'll show you how to do the folding. We're going to make kind of crease on all those triangles so you can see where they are. Go ahead and do that. And then we're going to fold 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one is the one that has to tuck in. If we just folded it flat, it would cover up that green pinwheel. So we're going to tuck it under.
Oh, I
And
see.
that's like if you're closing a box, like you're storing something in a cardboard box. You have 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one has to go underneath.
Hey, it worked.
Good, very good. It's kind of like magic. The paper engineering is so much fun. And this is a card that you really can experiment with lots of different papers to make different surprise cards for birthdays, for thinking of use, any kind of surprise or a friend card. You can have a little clue on the outside with some kind of greeting and then the answer on the inside. It'd be a fun like riddle card where you'd say knock knock, who's there, and then have the riddle inside. So it's very engaging. It makes people want to open it up and then they can hopefully figure out how to close it again, although it would be lovely just opened. But if you people are curious how you folded it, remind them that box top trick where you overlap 3 and then the fourth one tucks in. Okay. So I'm going to show you that one more time with this green and red paper. This might be a little better contrast for the camera for you to see the changes. So I'm folding over these 4 triangles from one from each of the plus sign pieces. And what's important is that's all the same going around. So if you're on the right, It's the right every time the pinwheel turns. If it's the left, that's okay. Like I could do it this way and have them turn like this. And that's fine because they're all turning in that same direction. Okay. Now, when we fold our box, you have to do it this way. I'm going to fold over 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to see if we did that, it would cover it up. So we have to slide it under, and that will tuck in and create the closure.
Woohoo!
Isn't that fun? And it's because it has that dimension, it just kind of invites people to open the package. So I'll be really curious to hear about what you design with this. Use your Halloween one here as kind of a practice, if you like, and share it with somebody who celebrates Halloween. I thought today I might share some with a couple of our neighbors do decorating for Halloween, and it's always fun to see the pumpkins on the front porch or the lights that they put up. So I thought these might be fun little thank you for decorating the area cards, or you can give them to a grandchild or niece or a neighbor, just as a little happy surprise. You could also put a little bit of candy in there, or a gift card or something. If I send one to my son in college, I can put a gift card inside for him to get something. Okay, so let's try our next card. This will be one for Thanksgiving time or any fall occasion that you have where you want to spread some love with a card. A card is a hug with a fold in the middle and a paper hug. So this one has a unique opening, and it's designed so that it can stand like an easel. Okay. And so this part, because we use dimensionals on this part, it creates kind of a lip and it will hold that up. You can also display this card vertically this way because the base is sturdy here with all these folds. Now I'll share the measurements for this with you in case you want to recreate it. The card base is 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 1.25 and 4.25. So basically it's folded in half, like a standard card base. And then this front 1.25 is folded back. So you take that, use your bone folder or your hands or spoon, and now we have that basic shape. So this is a card design I use frequently as a vertical card. I just like the way it stands up. And because a little bit of the inside peeks through, you can do creative things with designer series paper. But for today, we're going to add some of this lovely paper, and you'll think, but Missy, this is all black and white, and your card has some more color added. So I'm going to share some tips with you on how to add color to designer series paper like this. And we'll start by finding the piece that has the mesh look like a screen. And I'm going to take my ruler, and this, I hope you can see this okay. I just have an acrylic, a clear ruler here. You could use any straight edge for this because you're not really measuring, you're just using it as a straight edge. And I'm going to take my colored pencils, and without measuring or worrying about equal distance, I'm just going to pull it across the ruler across my card and just drag my pencil down. And I'm not really trying to hit the lines, but because there's so many lines, it will create this cool plaid. Do it vertically and horizontally. And I'm going to do that with a couple different colors because I want to pull in this rusty color of the paper along with a little more orange, a little bit brighter. Elizabeth, I'm glad you think that's a fun idea. It's great to alter the paper. So when you have a paper that is not the color that you want, like, or it's black and white and you want to change it up, or sometimes if a paper is polka dot, you can even add stripes to it. There's a lot of ways to just add some visual interest and make it match whatever other papers you might be working with. We'll take a little bit of this green. This is Old Olive. And you can't go wrong. It's your own taste how much you want to add of color. My green lines are a little wider apart. So this reminds me of like a warm flannel fabric for holiday time, maybe a blanket or a scarf that you're wearing.
Definitely looks like a tweed.
Yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to finish up with a little bit of yellow, and that's going to brighten it just a little bit. I love how this color, it's called Daffodil Delight, and it definitely will add a little bit of sunshine to that paper. So we've changed it from being a black and white texture paper to having all this fun color. Now, the next piece we'll alter is this floral piece. So that one has it's shades of gray really with the floral design. I think it's lovely just as it is, but again, because this is fall time, I'm kind of turning this into a card that would be appropriate for a thankful card, a thinking of you, a Thanksgiving card. And I'm when I use my watercolor pencils, I'm really just kind of scribbling in. And I'll explain why that is because I'm going to use the water painter to blend those colors. So let's start with the green, and I'm going to try to help you see it. I'll lift it up once I do a little bit here, so maybe you can see it more clearly. My scribble lines here don't completely fill in the leaf, but when I take my water painter, I'm just blending and sort of pulling that color around, and it softens it, and it pulls it to around the shape of the leaf. So it looks like I've watercolored. And it's very a great satisfaction feeling of artistic feeling when you use these tools. Let's add a little bit of that orange and corally color. See how I'm just sort of spinning my pencil into these little swirls because I'm going to bleed the colors. So I'm just wiggle scriggle. Now, if you want, you can be more exacting with your coloring, but I find that it looks very much more like it would look in a museum if it's sort of a little bit messy here. The great artists often had didn't worry about staying in the lines. Impressionistic art. And so it's very freeing. I'm even adding a little bit of the red here because this red combined with the orangey coral is going to make a good match for this shade of rusty paper. There. And I take my watercolor painter. Now, so you at home, if you have regular markers, you could use these to color in your paper, crayons or colored pencils, or you can leave it with that clean black and white look. It's a really pretty, elegant paper, even without this coloring. There we are. So I've got my two altered pieces, and then I also I want to add, you don't need to, but I want to add some color to my little flower. So this I didn't fussy cut for you. It's just cut boldly around. You're going to want to take your time to trim around the edges carefully. That's called fussy cutting. You'll see that I am turning the paper with my left hand and holding the scissors straight in my right hand. So the part that's moving the paper is my left hand. And this helps you have better control and allows you to do this cutting instead of moving the scissors in and out at angles. If I turn the paper, it's much simpler. It doesn't tend to kind of snag paper like it would if I was trying to pierce into the points by moving the scissors. There we are. So this card, you remember, whenever you take our classes, you don't have to do it at the same pace that I'm doing. I hope you'll enjoy our fellowship time, our social time together. And then when you're watching on replay, you can pause, you can rewind, you can replay, so that you can take your time and enjoy the process of creating. Just a little bit of green in here along the stem pieces, greenery. And then I'll scribble in some of those colors, just the same way that I did with the other
So it
piece.
looks like you cut out all the dots. Is that right?
I did, but you can keep some of the dots. That just adds more texture. You'll see on my card here, depending on the size of your greeting, you can keep more of the dots, but it's basically going to
Okay.
be layered on top of dots. You can see how you'll be adding the floral piece to the part with the dots.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm scribbling in some of the orange, quite a bit of coloring tonight. I find it very relaxing and pleasing to do the coloring, especially because I'm not trying to do it like staying right inside the lines perfectly. I'm just being loose and having it be relaxing. And I also just like how when I have those swirly pieces of watercolor pencil, they tend to blend really nicely. With the watercolor pencils, you see, you don't, when once you add water, you don't see those harsh lines or you see less of them and it makes the blendy color. But see, I had some come over onto the white. That's okay with me. I like for things to bleed a little bit. When I want to change colors, like the green, I really don't want the red to get mixed in because it would turn kind of brown. So what I do is I take my water painter and I just brush it on a scrap paper to make sure it's clear again, clear water. And then I can go through and kind of spread around some of that green like that. Now, one other technique of coloring on this card is more subtle, but you may be able to see there's a little bit of green shadow around the flower here. And I'm doing that with a special brush called the blending brush. Hopefully we can find it right here. And using my brush and an ink pad. Now, a little goes a long way with this. So what I advise is to put some ink onto your brush and then smooth it off onto the scrap paper and kind of get a feel of how bold the color is. You can always add more, but you can't take the ink away once we've added it. So I'm going to take my piece of with white here. Sorry, I'm always messy on my desk, so I hope you can focus into the center of the screen here. I'm going to ink up my brush and rub off a little bit on the scrap paper first, and then add it in a nice circular motion over onto the white paper. Now, I'm intending for this to be pretty subtle, so it may not show up a whole lot. I'm not covering the whole piece. I'm just kind of making a cloud for that flower piece to sit on very subtly.
Nice.
Great. This is really nice to do too. And it's a great way to just add some background and to modify a paper like this white and polka dot where I just wanted to have a little bit more color. Now we need to decide about our greeting. So my sample used the stamp set called Friends for Life. And it has this nice big thinking of you, and then this nice big friend. Thank you for being a friend. This is a great stamp set with a lot of versatile words, as well as some images of hearts and leaves, and this really fun painty, swatchy stamp that allows you to make some cool background textures too. For the card we make tonight, I thought we'd use the one called Grateful Blessings. And this is a nice one for holiday time when we're sharing with others that we thank them for being a part of our lives. And I'm going to stamp in the Memento ink. The stamp says, "You're such a blessing." And stamp that here. Let me make sure I get it nice and juicy. This is a new stamp set, so I haven't used these stamps. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it once on my scrap paper just to be sure that it's a nice clean impression. When stamps are new, the photopolymer process sometimes leaves a little bit of film or residue on the stamp. And so when you first get them, you want to take a minute to ink it up and stamp it on some scrap paper, kind of wiggle it around. There we are. And then I'm ready to start assembling. So let's take our card base. Now, remember, if you want, you could make your card be a stand-up card. You just would have put your greeting the other direction. I'm going to keep mine this way so that it turns into an easel card. Let's make sure we have all our pieces. This white piece is for the inside of the card. We're going to do that at the end. And then we have this plaid piece. And all these pieces and parts. This is an extra one. So this, I think I intended if you wanted to do different kinds of textures, just like I did on the big piece. And then this is the piece that I'll apply to the card today, which gives this kind of harlequin pattern behind. I liked that that was contrasted. You could add color to this. In fact, let's do that with a blending brush just so we can compare the difference. Take our brush and our ink. And this time I can be a little more bold with the color. I want to have a brighter green. So I'm adding more ink and I'm applying more pressure. Just kind of in a circular motion, round and round. Now this middle section isn't even going to show, so I don't need to worry about that. I just need to hit these ends. Adding some ink there, and that's going to make a whole new look. This paper's changed its season by having that green. So we'll add that first with our adhesive. I'm going to use my Tombow multi-purpose glue, the green glue. Little goes a long way, just a little thread of glue or ... not a lot. I know
It's
some of you have been
amazing
in.
how the,
Uh-huh.
the black actually turns green.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, when you look at it, it almost looks like a fabric to me now because that black looks so much like stitching.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really neat. Okay, so that's that part. We can add the plaid piece, tuck it inside here. Again, we'll use some adhesive. And that's going to have just a nice frame around it, that 1/4 inch that goes all the way around. And this piece we're going to elevate with our dimensionals because we want it to create this easel shape. And even if you don't display it that way, it's fine just to have it have that height to it. So, but because we're adding dimensionals, it has this little lip to catch on so it can stand up. And I think it's a neat way to display the card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll use our dimensionals on here. I've got these little ones handy. So I'm going to add several. I want it to be pretty sturdy.
So you're raising up the whole card. I thought you were just raising
Oh,
up one side of it.
yeah,
Interesting.
just this one, just this,
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's the whole
Oh,
piece
I see
of
what you're saying. Yep, rather
paper.
than just one edge, I'm going to go across the whole piece.
Got
Yep,
it.
yep. You probably could get away with just having a portion of it, enough to catch it like a little latch, but I like the way it looks when it's got this equal
Yeah.
equal height of the round. So there we are. Okay. Now this piece we're going to layer. This mat is measures the paper measures 3 by 4 inches. And then the mat is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. Now you could make any kind of shape here, any size shape. It doesn't have to be those particular proportions, but that 3 by 4 is very balanced in your card making. So I'm going to demonstrate that. Another nice thing about working with 3 by 4 pieces is when you start with a designer series paper that's 12 by 12 inches, a large piece of designer series paper, then you can get a whole bunch of 3 by 4s out of that.
Mm.
And you don't have any waste. So that's a nice thing. Now I'm going to add my floral focal piece, and I want that to pop out too. So I'm going to add some dimensionals. Really just need a few to anchor this. And this focal point is going to overlap just slightly, a little bit onto that blessing word, and then kind of hang over a little bit. So whatever you choose as your greeting, you just want to be mindful to have space for the focal point. Or you could change this. You could cut this apart and make 3 little flowers, or you can put them in different sections. The fun thing about playing with a designer series paper where you can fussy cut pieces is there's a lot of flexibility in how you want to put it together. So here we have to be mindful that when we put glue on here, we don't want it to go over onto the edges. So I'm just going to put some in the middle, and I'm leaving about 1 inch on each side or more, so that I don't have glue smush over onto the edges. And then I can position this. You'll see how it's got that nice frame of the top and bottom and the sides.
Mhm.
And then it's ready to anchor. One more thing to add. What am I missing? Sometimes I forget, but I've got an inside piece. Because this cardstock is a darker color, it's nice to have a white or a vanilla inside piece so that people can write on it and it's legible and easy to read. Uh, Another option is to use a white gel pen. I really love that look, especially on black, like kind of looks like chalkboard, or on a dark color of cardstock. So this one looks just kind of like a regular card, and it certainly could be, doesn't have to be displayed as an easel, but I think it adds a special touch to it when it's displayed like this. And sometimes it has to rest a little bit to get to be creased just right so that it will stand. There we are. So I hope that was fun to see a few different ways to modify paper, whether it's starting with white paper and adding color to it, or a designer series paper that has a pattern. I think it's really fun, and you really feel artistic when you're modifying the papers. That's our second project for tonight. And we're going to finish with a fun holiday card, a colorful card. And this one also uses designer series paper in a fun way. You get two cards from one piece of the 12 by 12 cardstock. So let's take a look at what it looks like before I share the pieces and parts. This one is going to open up, and the designer series paper is actually the card base. So we don't have a big piece of cardstock on here. We just have that big piece of designer series paper. Okay. And this one, you have a few special things inside. We have some gems. These are some of my favorite ones, and I loved how the colors really complement the colors in the ornaments. So on my sample, I've added some of them to the center of the ornaments.
They're so
And
pretty.
aren't they lovely? They have a really pretty sparkle to them. They look like glass, I think, and so they make me think of those special holiday ornament decorations. Also in your kit, you have a little label sheet, and yours, I think, has all three parts. And these are in German. And I just wanted them for the label shape today. So if you want to use the German words, you can. You can Google to find out what they translate to. But a lot of our kits that include pre-printed sentiments come in four languages: English, French, German, and Dutch. And so you may think, oh, I don't have a need for that, but it's fun to send them to people so that they can broaden their vocabulary. You can Google first to see what it translates to and send it to a friend. Or you can turn it over like we're doing today to use just the back of it as a really nice shaped label. Okay. So I'll do that so you can see it on the green, the different shapes. So you should have these three choices: the oval, the long rectangle, and the square. So I'm going to use the other piece, but you can choose whichever one you like. This is a stamp set called Christmas Labels, and I love the vintage feel of it. Peace on Earth, celebrate the holidays and always. And they're sugar plum, a lot of neat fonts, and the swirl of them is really fun. So I liked the Love and Joy that I used on my sample, and then on the inside, I used the Hope Your Season is Filled with Magic. All of these stars, kind of like snowy stars, and the non-traditional Christmas colors make me feel like a season of magic. So I'm going to go ahead and use that instead of it being on the inside. For my sample tonight, I'll have it be on the outside. So we flip over our label, and I have the greeting that says, hope your season is filled with magic. And this is Melon Mambo. And I think this pink and green and black combo are just so much fun for a vintage holiday feel. I hope your season is filled with magic. That's fun. Okay. So let's go ahead. We've done our stamping there. What we want to do is do the folding for the card. Now, let's see, here, I have the dimensions right here for us. The paper is cut at 5.5 by 12. So again, you have two from one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. You can make two of these cards and still have a little strip, a 1-inch strip that you'd have as a leftover piece for your collection. And there are three score lines. Score at 1.5 inches, 3 3/4 inches, and 7 3/4 inches. So that's people, when they watch the recording, they'll be able to take a screenshot if they want to of those dimensions, but it's very simple. This is going to make it so that it will fit in a standard envelope. Okay. So we're going to fold that line, the 7 3/4 line, that's going to fold over. And it doesn't go all the way. You'll see there's just this tiny little line when we fold it. I did that on purpose because I like the overlap, and also because it would keep our dimensions, our scoring dimensions, very simple. They're all at half or 1/4 inch measurements rather than trying to have eighths. And it would just kind of make it more tricky math. Then that 1.5 inch we fold back like this. So the card is going to open here. All right. And if you ever have questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. I don't always catch them on the Facebook recording or on the YouTube. So you can reach out to me by messaging me or contact me through Julia at the library. But I do try to watch the recording so that if I catch questions or comments, I can respond. This one can be secured here. We can add a little bit of glue to make this flap stay in place. And then we can do our layering of our designer series paper parts. So this, we put glue on the back, a little thread, dot, dot, not a lot. Gonna add that again with that nice mat around it. And this we can use dimensionals to put onto the front of our card. Now remember, again, this is one of those cards where, just like our Thanksgiving card here, we don't want to put adhesive on the whole back because we want this to pull open. It could kind of open it this way too and see where the glue is going to go. So I'm just going to put 3 dimensionals down the side here. 1, 2, 3. And that will be enough to hold it and to give it a little bit of lift. There we are. And that's going to just layer on the front. Again, I try to center it so that there's space around all of the edges. And on the inside, we can layer this nice, oh, it looks like I changed it up. On the sample card, I had the green as my cover. This one, I have the pink as my cover, and the green will be on the inside. That'll be a nice contrast. Yeah, so when you receive your pieces and parts, remember, you can use them any way you like. They don't have to match the same as the way I use them.
So a question, the front cover thing where you have the paper on the pink and it's
Yeah.
glued to the folded over green part. It's different from mine and I'm confused. Oh, right, because you can see both the green and
This black piece and the pink piece,
the
right?
pink piece, right?
Yes, because we folded it back. So I already glued mine. I should have had an extra one to show you. But that initial flap, we folded once, twice, and then that 1.5 inch score folds over. So it
Okay,
again, it's just creating those layers.
right.
So when it's open, it's going to look like this. You're going to see some of that contrast inside.
So are people going to know? I don't know. I guess they will because the flap is sort of flappy. The
Yeah, the narrow, when you open your card, there's one fold that's like the whole size
yeah,
of a regular
yeah.
card. And then there's a middle, like it's Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear in terms of the dimensions.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
if I wanted to do the other one on the inside and have the gingerbread man on the inside, would I just fold the
Oh,
backwards?
yes, yes. So that way you'd have this would be showing, be up like this. Now it would work, except I already glued this. But
Right.
if you
Yeah.
didn't glue that, you would just flip it the other way. So yes, you have a choice because you have the two pieces of paper. You can
Okay.
decide which one is going to be. It's based on whether you do a mountain or a valley fold. It will
Oh, okay.
determine
Got
that.
it. And
Okay.
yeah,
The
it's because
scoring is the same. Yeah.
because my family has the gingerbread as a very important part of
Oh,
Christmas party.
excellent. Very good. Yes. So it's nice. You can still see it here, but it's definitely more featured. Whatever piece you have more on the inside
Yeah.
is definitely standing out more. Excellent. Okay, now we'll take our little label, whether you use the oval or the rectangle or the square for your greeting, and we'll add that to our card. See, we're using the back of those labels because they're already nicely die cut for me. I wanted to use them. And we'll add that to the front. And
Cool.
then we'll add some really special gems, right? I think they're so much fun that they're going to accent some of the ornaments. And then you can also put them here on your card. So I'm going to put 3 on the card, the actual label piece.
That old-fashioned triangle,
You got it. That's right,
the
Julia.
magic
Yep,
triangle.
the 3. Yep, because it draws our eyes all around in that pattern of 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add some to accent those ornaments.
Ooh.
And depending on where your paper lands, I mean, you can alternate the colors. Like I'm going to put a little blue one here and a big blue one here, because that ornament kind of has 2 little starbursts. I can put another pink one down here.
Mhm.
You can't go wrong. You can put as many as you like. There we are. I think that's just really fun. They give a vintage feel of magical lights at Christmas time. Okay. Super. So we have 3 projects that we completed tonight together and got to try out some different ways to use color to modify designer series paper. And this one's fun to be engaging. Remember, it just kind of invites you to want to open it up. And to fold it up, it's just remember you overlap, overlap, overlap. Whatever is your last flap, you have to tuck it in. And many of you know that is kind of a box top flap. If you're storing things in a box, you often do that. This has been a lot of fun. We have a couple things we want to remind you about. One is we have our in-person crafting tomorrow, our Let's Kit Together. It's at the library on Friday at 10 o'clock. And it's a $20 supply fee to receive a kit that has the inks, the stamps, the block, all of the consumable parts to make usually 8 to 10 cards. I have some wonderful holiday kits, some fall kits, thinking of you, some new ones to show off, and always look forward to seeing people there. And then I also have a really special thing to share that our friend Nancy created for us. These are some storage boxes, made recycled boxes. She eats a lot of shredded wheat in her house and also thin wheats, thin wheats. Here is a smaller size, but I'm going to see if I can show it to you on camera a little bit more easily. But it's designed to be a way to store pieces and parts. So one idea would be to put your card making supplies in here. You could, for example, scissors, tape, ink, stamps could go in one section. The card making kit that you pick up from Julia at the office, maybe envelopes. You could also use it as a way to sort your mail. So in this case, there are these three sections. I'll kind of fold that down just out of the way. And I also had a sample she made just one at a time as a little file box. And what a great way to store the cards that you make here in our Zoom class each month, or cards that you purchase or that you make with other supplies that you have, just so you have a place to keep track of things. This Nancy covered with some marbly contact paper, which is kind of fun. But there are several of these available for you from Julia's office. So it's while supplies last, but we have a bunch of them there to share with you. And if you can pick it up with your November kit. And then in November, I'll share some ways of decorating them. You can go ahead and do it earlier and have a show and tell if you like, but I'll share, you'll have some paper, some of the large 12 by 12 paper in your November kit so that you can do the decorating as well. And I just want to thank Nancy for sharing this really fun idea and for making several of them for us. And if you don't get one from the library, we can still share tips on how to cut and construct it. But you might start collecting your cereal boxes and snack boxes so that you can make some of these for your craft storage or organizing even your TV remotes. So Thanks again to Nancy for that idea.
Yeah, couldn't you show the other one if you lie it flat
Yeah,
on the table
yeah.
so that it can be, nope, the other way. So on, nope, other way, that way. Yes. So
This way,
then
yes.
you can slide stuff into it and you can have be able to see
Yes, because there's
access
three
them
tiers.
easily. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
there's three tiers. So it's a great way to do some organizing of different files. And when it's standing up here, the pieces will stick out so you can keep track as a filing
Yes.
cabinet.
Yeah.
It's really, really clever. And our last announcement the last announcement I have, and Julia can fill in the blanks, is that Saturday the library is hosting a craft supply exchange. And so
Mhm.
you can bring things that you no longer need to have in your craft stash that you want to share with others. And then you can pick up things that other people have brought. And my understanding is it's not just paper crafting, it'll also be a lot of fiber crafts. So yarn and ribbons and um, fabric and all kinds of things. Is that right, Julia?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Excellent. So I look forward to being there and I hope to see some of you. It would be a good fun to make some friends there with fellow crafters. The library offers several programs each month that are designed for people to share their artisan talents and learn together. So there are several with sewing, with quilting, with paper crafting, among other special things. But some of those are every month. You can take part in those different um, social activities. Thank you, Julia.
Okay, thank you, Missy. Thank.
Terrific. We'll see you next month.
Okay. Good night.
Bye bye, everyone.